Hey guys, how you doing? Sorry it's been a while since I put out a video. Just been kind of busy with the holidays and just got over a cold this past week. But there's just been I've been trying to get my shop organized and just haven't spent whole lot of time in my shop lately. But I did get a chance, and I've got a bunch of other things going on that I'm doing, little things here and there that aren't really video worthy, not worthy of making a video. I share a lot of my stuff on Instagram, so if you don't already follow me on Instagram, head on over there, and I'll put a link down in the description to my Instagram page if you want to check out what I'm doing on a more continuous basis. But in this video, I'm going to show you how I made a zero clearance insert for my miter saw to replace the stock one, and you'll see a picture of it in a minute. But it's a huge help, and obviously, a lot of people follow John Peters. That's kind of where I got the idea, and there's probably other places and other people that have made them as well, so I'm not the only one. He's not the only one. And if you're not familiar with that, a zero clearance insert, if you're watching this, you probably already are, but basically it helps when you're cross-cutting on the miter saw. It helps to reduce the tear out when the blade goes through the bottom part of it. Hope you guys enjoy this quick little video. Alright, so this is my miter saw. It's a DeWalt DW713 for those of you that really care. It's a 10-inch compound miter saw. One of my very first power tools, and it was actually given to me by a great friend who didn't need it anymore, and he was generous enough to give it to me. And this kind of got me started in woodworking, so I know a lot of people shy away from it, or I know a lot of people don't use miter saws that much anymore. They'll rely on their table saws, but it has a lot of sentimental value, and I really see a use for it sometimes. When I don't have time to set up my table saw for a crosscut, this really comes in handy. But one thing that miter saws are very bad at is, and a lot of them are this way, I guess if you buy a higher end one, then probably have a better chance of getting a better insert. But this is the insert that came out of it. As you can tell, the gap on this is quite a bit more than this. A lot of people make these kind of inserts for their table saws. And you also should make one for your miter saw like this. It's basically going to cut down on the tear out when the blade goes through. When it goes through, you have less chance of tear out. It's not going to get rid of it completely, but it is going to help a lot more than this one, this is probably like 1/4 of an inch, if that. It's probably more than that, 3/8 of an inch or something like that. This is way too much. Little pieces, especially when you're cutting little pieces, and they tend to get caught in here. They'll shoot down into this insert. So it's kind of a pain also, but the main reason is to cut down on the tear out. And also, your saw is going to probably differ and vary unless you have this exact model. But I'm just showing you my method of how I made it, and sort of how I made it, and how I put it on there and attached it. All right, as you can see, I've already removed this piece of the fence on my saw. The next step is to remove these screws, or 6 screws holding this in. I just removed those, and then you can slide this out. So it's just a plastic thing, and I cleaned underneath there a little bit. And I need to remove this fence. So back here we've got 4 screws, and these are, I don't know, VT40 star bit, or star Torx head. The wrench that comes with this saw is it's got the same size, but as I was trying to turn these, it stripped this out, so not a big deal. I've got one of these, and so I'm just going to remove these 4 bolts or screws and just pop this off. I've already gone ahead and traced out on an 1/8 inch piece of plywood. The problem is this is a little bit lower, or a little bit thinner, so all I did was trace around it, cut it out on the bandsaw. It's pretty simple shape. And I went ahead and marked the holes for the screws, and then I went ahead and sanded it until it fits nice and tight. But the problem is, I don't know if you can see that, but it sits about 16th or 32nd lower than the table. So what I need to do is shim it up. So what I ended up finding is a thin piece of plastic. It's actually a divider out of my drawers here. So I'm going to use this, and I lined it up here, and it sits exactly flush with that. So I'm going to cut some little pieces, some shims that I can put underneath here to go to shim that up, just underneath the screw holes, and that should be plenty of support. I may end up finding a couple extra of these to try and use them to shim all along this channel here to see if I can give it plenty of support. Alright, so I've already gone ahead and drilled the holes in the insert as well as the shims underneath, and I'm just going to go ahead and tighten down these screws to make sure that they're not sitting proud of the surface of the table or the base, whatever you want to call it. It's very important to have this accurate. And I'm just going to go ahead and put on the fence and tighten down these 4 screws, and then just go ahead and sped up the video so you don't have to watch me tighten these down. But one thing to keep in mind, if your top is aluminum like this, make sure you're taking your time starting and turning these screws in, because you could very well mess up the threads on these screws or the top itself with it being aluminum. I had a little bit of trouble getting them in. And I'm just going to go ahead and run the saw blade down through the insert to make the kerf. And I've turned the audio down a little bit on the saw so you don't have to be annoyed by the sound, because it was quite loud for some reason. And it seems to be holding up pretty well. It's a pretty clean cut. I'm going to go ahead and try a piece of wood on here to test it out. Obviously I don't have a zero clearance fence on this, but I'm pretty happy with the results of this cut. As you can see, the smaller edge of this piece of wood is got a lot more tear out, but the flat part doesn't. Here's the new insert right next to the old one. Quite a bit of difference there. And another picture of it. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So if this is your first time visiting my channel, welcome, and thanks for stopping by, and thanks for taking the time to watch this video. But go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you'd like, and so you can get notified. Hit the notification button so you never miss a video. It's especially important because I don't upload videos that often, probably about once a month, but it's easy to lose them, if you have in your feed. So go ahead and hit that bell button right there beside the subscribe button, so you never miss my videos when they're uploaded. But thanks again for watching this. Go ahead and check out some of my other videos up here. Thanks again for watching, and you guys have a good one, and God bless. And hit the subscribe button. I can't say that.